Hi, this is Bill Steffen. Say, did you notice the smoke that was in the air in West Michigan here on Saturday? Wow, the sky would have been a bright blue if it wasn't for those wildfires up in Manitoba. That's what's making the sky kind of smoky. We think that's going to kind of clear out a little bit here over the next couple of days as our winds turn back toward the southwest. But this northwest wind will continue during the day today, this Sunday, as we start the month of June. Well, let's go on and take a look at the smoke a little bit here. That's a satellite picture from Saturday, and you can see that swath, that swirl of kind of thin white that's over Lake Superior, Lake Michigan, western lower Michigan. If you were to go northeast over toward Alpena, the sky would have been blue. And if you were to go down toward Chicago, Milwaukee, the sky would have been a bright blue. But that one swirl of cloud cover, or not cloud cover, smoke, from Manitoba curling around through Michigan, and you can follow it all the way down into West Virginia. So it's kind of interesting. Now, I called up to her, or I didn't call, but I got some information for you. They have a Manitoba Wildlife Service, and I decided rather than just tell you it was smoky outside, we get some information about the fires. There are 8 fires which are deemed out of control. They are north, northwest, and east of Lake Winnipeg. And here's what they have fighting the fires here. It's certainly they wish they had more, but they have 177 firefighters. They have 32 helicopters, so they've really brought in the helicopters to pick up water from the lakes that are nearby there and drop that there. They have 6 what they call water bombers that can pick up the water right off the top of the lake right there and then bomb the fire. Good idea. And they have 54 pieces of what they call heavy equipment. These would be bulldozers that are working to make fire breaks up there. So they are working on it. It's a mixed bag when they get thunderstorms up there. Sometimes the rain is, of course, helpful in fighting the fires, but sometimes that lightning can cause additional fires. So we'll certainly keep an eye on things. And the wind was just right today so that smoke band came over West Michigan and stayed here throughout the day. On a different situation, a different wind, we wouldn't have had that smoke here. All right, let's go on here and take a look at some high temperatures here for Saturday afternoon. Once again, lake effect is ruling us. I've been talking about this now for about a week, and we've really seen some substantial differences. If you're right by Lake Michigan, it certainly hasn't felt like summer yet. And by the way, meteorological summer is June, July, and August, so that starts here today. Average high temperature at 75 for Grand Rapids as we start the month of June. Yesterday, Saturday, high temperature was just 63 at Kalamazoo and Grand Rapids. That's a pretty cool day. It's been cooler before. In fact, on January 1st in 2012, we had cold rain all day and a high temperature of 54. And I remember that day because I was emceeing stages at festival. Most of the acts chose not to perform outside because there really weren't any people around to speak of, but a few of them did. I had to remind them that electricity and water don't normally mix together very well, but it was up to them. And we heard some great tunes in the rain, and of course that turned out to be a super hot summer with temperatures topping 100 degrees a couple of days during the month of July. Look at the difference, though, between inland areas and the lake. The high temperature, Grand Rapids and Kalamazoo, 63. At the Holland Beach, the high temperature in the afternoon was 50. That's all. And on the Muskegon Pier, the high temperature was just 48. Isn't that amazing, the difference there? 48 to 63, that would be, 15 degrees difference. And, of course, we have the northwest wind and the smoke layer dimming the sunshine there. So a lot of people at the beach here on May 31st. Okay, now let's move on to the next slide, and we'll show you the forecast here for Sunday at the lake. A little better. And by the way, that's a picture of the sunset there, and you can see the sun shining through the smoke layer. The sun looks different when it's shining through smoke because there are different particles in the air, of course. We're looking for northwest winds at 5 to 15 knots, probably about 10 knots much of the afternoon. Waves should be probably closer to a foot much of the afternoon, but maybe as high as 1 to 2 feet. And the high temperature, if you're going to be right at the water, should be, instead of 50, I think we make about 58 or so. But I don't think there'll be anybody swimming in the water here this Sunday. Now it's time to thank our sponsors. Listen to this, please.
Need a fast, efficient, and affordable cleaning service? Complete Care Concierge has you covered. Serving all of West Michigan, We offer one-time, daily, weekly, and bi-weekly cleans, plus move in, move out. We also service apartment hallways and laundry rooms. Our work is guaranteed, gift cards are available, and we even clean on weekends. There's no better way to say I love you than giving a tired mom a break from dishes and laundry. Are you a busy professional? Pamper yourself by taking vacuuming and dusting off your plate. Office manager, keep your business looking and feeling its very best. Call 616-264-1397 today for a spotless space and total peace of mind.
When your home needs help, you might not know where to start. Why not ask Ace? We're always here to help with Ace Handyman Services. Our talented craftsmen handle everything from drywall and carpentry to doors and kitchens. We're the neighbors you trust to get the job done right. Let's get started. Book your handyman appointment today. Ace Handyman Services, bringing helpful to your home.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Well, we have the longest days of the year during the month of June, the most daylight that we get of any month of the year. The solstice comes up here 3 weeks into June. Sunrise time now at 6:06 a.m. If you're in Chicago, the sunrise there is about 5:15. And I remember as a golf caddy one day getting up and meeting somebody at like 5 o'clock and caddying for somebody for 9 holes. And then they went in to take a shower and head into work. So they have a lot of daylight there, but the sun's up early here, and we have about an hour's worth of twilight, too. You can look off to the northeast here during the early morning. Sunset time is at 9:14. Solar noon, again, is at 1:40. So if you want to stay out of the strongest rays of the sun, that would be from about noon till about 3:30 during the afternoon. May was 2.1 degrees cooler than average here in West Michigan. So far this month or this year, we've had 3 months that have been cooler than average and 2 months that have been warmer than average. Interesting. All right. This is a look at the 66-hour rainfall total, and you can see there's none in lower Michigan. So we have dry weather coming for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. You can see some rain in New England. Look down in Florida. There's a nice band of thunder showers. It could be dropping 1.5 inches to 2 inches of rain down there. A lot of the areas from eastern Colorado up into Minnesota picking up on some heavy rain as well. And look at Arizona. This is really interesting, that heavier rainfall total there for the state of Arizona. That's moisture being pumped up from the remains of Tropical Storm Alvin, which dissipated very quickly, by the way, but the moisture is still moving north. Our computers have been very consistent at printing out a total of about 1/3 of an inch of rain for Phoenix, Arizona, and about 1/2 an inch for Tucson, Arizona. And here we are kind of zoomed in. That dark green down at the bottom toward the Mexican border is up to 1 inch of rain. And by the way, look over towards San Diego, California. They actually had a thunderstorm around 11 o'clock in the morning their time with occasional lightning. It wasn't much. I don't even know if they even got 1/10 of an inch of rain out of it, but there was a bona fide thunder shower going on at 11 in the morning in San Diego, California. You don't see that too often. All right, let's talk about severe weather here and who's going to see it today. The slight risk, that's a level 2 risk, is down in Texas. That includes places like the Bryan, Texas area, Waco, Texas involved in that. There are 5 areas where there's a level 1 risk. I can't remember the last time I've seen 5 areas, but that's southern Florida, a stretch from eastern Tennessee to North Carolina, and includes Oak Ridge, where my sister lives. There's the marginal risk that surrounds the slight risk area there in Texas. There could be some strong thunderstorms with an isolated strong wind gust in Colorado down into New Mexico. And also, again, up toward Yellowstone National Park, the Sawtooth Range, southern Montana. So that's kind of interesting. And a chance of a random general thunderstorm in Wisconsin and parts of the UP. That will not affect us here, and most areas there will not be seeing any rain. Okay, we move ahead here to the day on Monday, and now we start to get the action back in the Plain States once again. And we're going to have to keep an eye on this, because this system will slowly move off toward Michigan. But Monday, the severe threat is generally from, as you can see in the yellow color there on the map, from northeast Colorado up through Nebraska, southeast South Dakota, and into western Minnesota. For Tuesday, that comes east to around the Mississippi River, and Wednesday, I wouldn't be surprised if we were included in that here in western lower Michigan. So we're going to be seeing a return to showers and storms here for probably starting Tuesday night and lasting at least through the day on Thursday, with about an inch of rain a possibility here. Okay, taking a look at the forecast for today, we might eke out 70 in inland areas. That'd be better than the 63 we had yesterday. We'll call it mostly sunny. There'll still be some smoke around, but not as much as Saturday. Mostly clear skies, slight chance of seeing the northern lights here over the next several days. Not working out so much for Saturday night because of the smoke in the air, but we'll keep an eye on things for you. There has been a frost advisory in effect for the area north of Kent County and Owego County north, where temperatures have bottomed out in the mid to upper 30s here during the early morning and around 40 here in Grand Rapids. That's pretty cool to start the month of June. Dry day, humidity goes down to about 30-35% during the afternoon. Winds will be out of the northwest at around 5 to 15 miles an hour. We'll take a look at some of the high temperatures across the area here for the next several days, starting with this Sunday. Computer's got us mainly upper 60s, may touch 70 in inland areas, but pretty similar temperatures in inland areas throughout the state. And near the water, it's going to be cooler, wind northwest off the water, so downtown South Haven gets a high temperature of just 58 degrees here. That's a pretty cool week they're having down there in South Haven there by the water. Places like Benton Harbor are also pretty close to the water there. I think Benton Harbor had a high of just 54 degrees here on Saturday. And it's starting to warm up in the UP, as you can see. Temperature should make it up into the upper 70s up toward Ironwood, mid 70s around Iron River. Now we move ahead to Monday, and here comes the warm air. Look at all the red color all of a sudden, but not out over Lake Michigan, where the color is still green and it's still kind of chilly. Low 80s for inland areas here. Computer gives 83 to Kalamazoo. Does give 70, though, to South Haven, and it should be a great day if you want to spend the day doing a little shopping along the lakeshore, stopping in places like Holland or Muskegon or South Haven or Benton Harbor, up toward Ludington, Pentwater. It should be a good day for that. Another dry day for the state. And you can see the warmer air coming in, 88, the high temperature here Monday in Chicago. Now, Tuesday is going to be our warmest day. On Tuesday, we'll be seeing temperatures here well up into the 80s. And you can see temperatures here, look, it gives mid-upper 80s throughout West Michigan here. Again, cooler near the lake we've been running about 10 to 15 degrees cooler near the lake. South Haven there at 74. That would be a pleasant day, 74 degrees. And you're walking around, maybe getting some blueberry ice cream or something like that in South Haven. Sounds good. 89 for Chicago, and again, the thunderstorms will be off to our west yet, but they may be moving in here either Tuesday night or during the day on Wednesday. The long-range outlook is in, and that takes us through the mid part of the week here. Sunshine and 70 degrees today, 81 on Monday. I'm going for 86 here on Tuesday. I've got a 20% chance of a thunder shower. That would be just for the evening. I think we can get in the softball and golf leagues here Tuesday evening. Wednesday may be a different story. I got a 70%. That's not a sure thing, a 70% chance of showers and storms. We may have to bounce that up to 80 or even 90 here. There's a good bet for some rain on Wednesday. And that should linger into Thursday as a little cooler air starts to move back in. We're back to the low 70s here come Thursday afternoon. And the 8 to 14 day outlooks are in. We start with the temperature outlook, and it's warm on both coasts and cooler than average here during the middle of the country. We're near normal here in West Michigan. And once again, I keep wanting to point out that the entire state of Alaska, colder than average there. They've really had kind of a chilly May. And we're keeping an eye on what goes on up there as well. A lot of folks head up. I was surprised when we were up in Michigan how many people we were up in Alaska a couple years ago, how many people were from Michigan that were up there, including I got recognized 3 or 4 times up there, including somebody who thought I was Dick Van Dyke. I tell that story out. It's really funny. It really is. Some guy came up and he's all excited, meeting Dick Van Dyke. He used to live in Muskegon about 20 years ago, so that's how he remembered me and how I looked famous, but he just got the wrong guy. All right, let's go on and take a look at rainfall for the 8 to 14 day period. We're average, but there's a lot of above average you can see down in the south. Again, a good amount of rain here. Not a lot of drought going on in the eastern U.S. here as we head into the early part of summertime. And above average precipitation over much of Alaska as well. And some of that will likely be snow. It really hasn't warmed up along the North Slope up there at all. Okay, let's take a look at what Michelle came up with. She is working at the airport. And first of all, I want to point out the tropical storm Alvin is no more. It has disappeared from the map. So it was alive for about 18 hours or so and then faded away, though it's still pumping moisture up. This is a whole separate system. There's a 40% chance that a second tropical storm will develop here within the next week. And that's in that orange hatched area. It will also move west-northwest and stay far enough off the coast that it shouldn't cause a problem to anybody down there in Guatemala or in southern Mexico. Now let's take a look at what Michelle's come up with. She's working at the airport tonight. So first of all, we start out with January 1 weather records. And I believe January 1, 1934. 1934 was a super hot and dry year. There was a drought almost coast to coast, so that allowed the sun to use most of its energy to heat air, and it did. 102 degrees. That's the earliest 100 that we have ever had here in the Grand Rapids airport. Record low temperature 36 in 1993, and we're not going to be too far away from that here during the early morning. I expect in downtown Grand Rapids we'll probably get down to around 40. Average high temperature 74.9. We round that to 75, and the average low temperature 53.3 as we start into the month of June. Some interesting things about the date, June 1st here. Let's see if we can take a look at those for you. First of all, this is a look at Grand Rapids temperature by day. The red is the high temperatures that occurred each day. You can pick out the day, May 9th, my birthday. Well, we'll see what the temperature was that day. It looks like about 70. It was really cold in the morning on my birthday. I remember getting up early, and it was like low to mid 30s here. And the green is the average, and then the dark blue line, is that blue or black, would be for the low temperatures there. It's kind of hard for me to see far enough away. But it was about 2 degrees cooler than average. And you can see the first half of the month wasn't any warmer or wasn't any cooler than the second half of the month. Second half of the month was actually pretty cool relative to average than as it is in the first part of the month there. So interesting. All right, let's go on to the next slide here. June 1, 1936, the first metal stamps were shipped from Wyoming, Michigan, General Motors stamping plant here. That was a big one and employed a lot of people. In fact, down in the corner there, Michelle has that listed for us. It employed 3,500 people in 1964 and employed 225 people in 2009. So it really shrunk there. There were secret negotiations for General Motors to buy the land in Wyoming while Grand Rapids provided utility service. And it was quite an operation. The first two cars that I remember my father had were both Chevrolets. And my dad was very impressed with how good these cars were. And my dad worked on the cars himself. He was kind of a car guy. So, I mean, he would change the spark plugs and change the oil and all that. And really, really kind of neat. We had, in fact, when I was a little kid, I remember we had a 49 Chevy and a 56 Chevy. And the 56 Chevy was two-toned. And then my dad one day went to Earl Scheib. Anybody remember Earl Scheib? You went there and for $29.95 you could get your car repainted. So we did that, and that was I remember a lot of fun days. Helping my dad around the house and around the yard and whatnot. So salute the stampers. There's still some of those that are still with us here. All right, let's move on here. What else happened on June the 1st? 1637, Father Marquette, born in France, first sent as a missionary to Quebec, then moved to Sault Ste. Marie in Michigan, and later to St. Ignace, right by Mackinac Island there. And there's a statue of him in, I believe, the Ludington area that you can go see. And he and Joliet did a lot of exploring around the West Michigan, not West Michigan, but around the Michigan area here. All right, let's go on and take a look at our next slide here. On this date in 1905, the Manistee County Library first opened its doors. When I think of Manistee, you know who I think of? I think of James Earl Jones, who grew up on a farm just east of there and started his acting at the theater there in Manistee, which in 1900 had a population of 6,734 and currently has a population of 6,259. So there's actually fewer people living in Manistee today than there was 125 years ago. And of course, we had the lumber industry going strong in some of those areas right there along the lakeshore. But nice town, been there many times, and never saw a play there. May have to do that sometime, but really nice town. They have a nice weather station there at the airport that reports into us 24/7. Okay, coming up next, June 1 is National Olive Day. Well, what country in the world is the top producer of olives? Hint, Italy is second. Okay, there's a hint there. I probably offhand would have maybe even guessed the United States because we have so many consumers of olives here, but I know a lot of olives come from the Mediterranean area, so I mean it could be Greece or Spain or what else is over there? I need a big country or something like that. Let's take a look. I probably would have initially guessed the United States, and the answer is Spain. Okay, sounds good. Sounds neat. Spanish olives, yeah, I'll go for that. So, National Olive Day. I'll have to get myself a pizza with olives on it. Enjoy the day. All right, what else is next on the agenda here? June 1 in history, other stuff. Thanks to Alex for this slide. 2011, that was a horrible year for tornadoes. In recent memory, that was and it was everywhere. I mean, we had tornadoes throughout the South and the Midwest. It was really a tough year. Tornado outbreak on this date in 2011 in Massachusetts and of all places, Maine. Very unusual due to the damage being in New England. That reminds me of the June 9 tornado at Worcester, Massachusetts. That was the day after the Flint tornado here in Michigan. But 3 fatalities and 227.6 million in damage. And it's hard to do that in the state of Maine, unless it really hits a populated area. Massachusetts, of course, is more populated, but that was on the state in 2011. Birthdays today: Brigham Young, who now has a university named after him in Utah. John Marshall Harlan, Andy Griffith. Well, Andy Griffith shows are still running on rerun. The reruns are still running on cable, and golly, in beautiful black and white. And you can see Opie, Ronnie Howard, who grew up to be a pretty good director. And Pat Boone in 1934. He's still alive, by the way. What would that make him? How can I do the math? 66 plus 25, 91 years old, Pat Boone. On a day like today. Well, I'm going to stop singing here. People don't want to hear that. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Salute our birthday people there. Anybody else might be having a birthday on June the 1st. According to Google Maps, how long does it take to drive from Ironwood, Michigan to Grand Rapids, Michigan? I guess it depends on who's driving. And we have a car that's sitting in the middle of Lake Michigan. I guess if your car gets in the water, you're probably not going to make it. Okay, let me come up with a true guess here. I will guess there's expressway most of the way up to the bridge. I guess you go to the bridge. All right, let's go 7 hours, maybe a little longer than that. 8 hours and 22 minutes if you take the ferry, and 8 hours 33 minutes if there's no ferry. So you can take your pick. I would probably choose to take the ferry if I could. You can save a few miles on the car and enjoy the time out over the lake. Though the lake is pretty cold out there, and probably not a whole lot of people sitting out on the deck for the whole trip out there. But Ironwood to Grand Rapids, about 8 hours, 8.5 hours to get from one place to another. We got some pictures to share with you, I think. This is from, well, look at that, daughter number 2. I believe that's a marigold, if I'm not mistaken. But my daughter is a fantastic gardener. She had some lettuce that reseeded or whatever from last year, and she was eating lettuce here throughout a good portion of the month of May from her garden. And she's already got, I saw a picture of a pepper that was already growing, a nice big green pepper. So doing very well. Okay, that's a picture from garden number 1, and I believe there's a second one, isn't there? There is. This one in yellow, beautiful flower, and we've had some great flowers. In my front yard, I've got a batch of iris that are yellow iris that are just beautiful right now, and we got some lilacs in bloom on the south border of the property there. They're looking great. So it's been a good spring, I think, for flowers around here. But thank you, Marie, for sending those pictures here to the blog and the vlog. And we have one more picture, I think, to show you, maybe a couple more here. Dave Verhoeven, this is near Hof State Park, which I believe is on Lake Huron, just to the north of Rogers City. So that would be a sunrise, and with the sun rising more toward the northeast, you're looking at pretty much straight out over the lake when you're watching sunrise here during the month of June. I have never been to Hof State Park, and I'm going to have to get there and take a look at that. They have some nice hiking trails there right along the water. Okay, next slide. And well, look at this. We have a slide here showing us where Hof State Park is. 1 mile of shoreline. That would be fun to walk. It reminds me of Saugatuck State Park, or Hoffmaster has about a mile you can walk there. 340 acres. That's a lot of property. 4 miles of trails. They have camping there. I haven't gone camping in a long time. I wonder if I'll be able to do that. My back and everything. Land was donated in 1922. Friends of Hof State Park provide support and upkeep efforts. There's so many people that do so many great things, and they don't get a lot of credit. So if you know somebody that's done a great thing, tell them that they are appreciated. That would go a long way to making them feel a little bit better. Okay, up next, we have one slide here from John Scully. This looks like a sunset, because he lives over by Lake Michigan there. A little bit of a breeze there on the water, and it looks like maybe a little bit of smoke in the air too there. But really another, how many really nice sunsets have I seen over the course of my years here in West Michigan? It's just a beautiful place to be here, and especially this time of year as we start a new month. So I think that brings us to the end. Do we have any more? No, that's it for today. Thanks so much for staying with us till the end. I hope you have a great day today and a great month of June.